important aspect. And our first speaker on that is a gentleman I think you're going to enjoy to hear. Again, he could probably spend hours on telling you everything about industrial hemp, but let's start.
Senator Fulmer and Senator Schwank and Senator Leach. Senator Schwank's the prime sponsor of our hemp bill, and Fulmer's the prime co-sponsor. Senator Leach is co-sponsored it. And Representative Diamond, too, is going to be introducing the companion bill in the House. I thought I'd talk mostly about history today because other speakers will talk about, the potential for the future. And if I told you everything, like he said, I'd be up here for hours. So I'm going to give you a kind of a brief overview. I'm the author of this book, Headstone Heritage, book about the history of the hemp industry in Pennsylvania. I gave a copy to Lieutenant Governor Mike Stack before he left. There's an inscription on the National Archives that reads, "The heritage of the past is a seed that brings forth the harvest of the future." So it is that we look to our past and our rich traditions of history. Not to dwell nostalgically on the past, but to chart a more informed, purposeful course for the future based on a more firm foundation of knowledge with the combined wisdom of centuries of experience to guide us. On September 2nd, 1749, my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, Johann Leonard Garman, came to this country with his brother Adam Garman. He came at the age of 25 and died in 1813 at the age of 88 years old. They had left, he came here with his brother Adam Garman. They had left Odenwald, Germany together and traveled up the Rhine River to the port of Rotterdam, where they set sail for the New World. Shortly after arrival in Philadelphia, they moved into large farms in Lancaster County's Earl Township in the approximate area we now call Red Run. They were joined by other members of the Garman family, had large families, lived long lives, and fathered sons who served in local militia units during the Revolutionary War. For the better part of over 200 years, virtually all of my ancestors farmed the fertile soils of Lancaster County. As was common of this area's early settlers, they were largely self-sufficient in all areas of life. They grew the common crops of their time: corn, wheat, rye, potatoes, oats, hay, flax, and hemp. They raised bees and made honey. They raised cows, pigs, geese, and sheep. They did their own carpentry work and made everything they could with their bare hands. Even the clothes on their backs were made with the homespun hemp, flax, and wools raised on their farms. I took the name of my stepfather, but the Starks came here in 1767 from Germany, and they also grew hemp. My mother's maiden name is Kilhefner. The Kilhefners also grew hemp in Lancaster County. On the maternal side of my grandmothers to all my grandfathers came from families that grew hemp. They lived in a time and a place where everyone grew hemp for self-sustainability and for profit. In 1994, I read a book by Jack Herer called The Emperor Wears No Clothes. It was a fascinating book that detailed the history of the hemp industry from its ancient beginnings in India and central China, to spread throughout Asia, Europe, and America, and throughout the world. In the beginning of the book, it said that wherever there were major hemp growing regions in America, there were towns named after hemp. It mentioned the original Hempfield Township in Lancaster County, PA. It was an epiphany. A light bulb went on over my head. I knew it must be true, but there was a little bit of doubt. I wondered, if this was true, then why have I never heard of this? Why had I not even heard of the word hemp enough before to even take notice of the word? I posited the theory that if hemp was once an important industry here, then there must be evidence to back it up. So on March 3rd, 1997, I set out on an odyssey of discovery that continues to this day. All I can say is, wow. In all honesty, I did not expect the rabbit hole to go so deep. I didn't expect the story to be of such epic and heroic proportions. Who could number the fields of hemp in early Pennsylvania? Acres and acres of hemp wherever you looked, in all directions, on every farm, from one end of the state to the other, and in every corner. The culture of hemp was nearly universal. First grown in the vicinity of the Delaware by the Swedes in the 1650s, William Penn recognized the enormous potential of this crop and founded Pennsylvania in 1681, specifically intending for the Commonwealth to produce hemp. In 1683, one of the very first laws enacted by the General Assembly was an act for the encouragement of raising hemp. 2 years later, a law was proposed by Thomas Budd that would compel every farmer to plant 1 acre of flax and 2 acres of hemp. While it never became mandatory, it was widely adopted and encouraged. And in that same year, Penn noted great quantities of hemp already being grown in his province and proposed that hemp would be among the 4 staples of trade here. By the 1690s, the hemp industry was already well established here, with ships being built, rope manufacturers making rope, the manufacture of sailcloth extensively carrying on, and hemp pecklers and weavers and farmers in every early settlement growing the crop. The first permanent settlers of what is now Lancaster County started farming around the year 1710 and immediately planted hemp. In 1720, John Gardner erected the first documented hemp mill in the not yet formed territory of Lancaster at the mouth of the Chickies Creek, right above Columbia, just in time for the big push that came in the 1720s, where the General Assembly encouraged all Pennsylvania farmers to grow hemp by granting them a series of ever-increasing bounties paid to them for every pound of hemp that they could produce fit for market. The farmers of the new settlements responded to the calls for hemp so much that when the new county of Lancaster was formed in 1729, it included the original Hempfield Township, named for, quote, the vast quantities of hemp raised there. At that time, Lebanon and Dauphin counties were a part of Lancaster County. All the early settlements in this area grew hemp, including Annville. John Gardner's hemp mill may have been the first hemp mill that we know of in Lancaster County, but it sure was not the last. I dug through the old tax records and was able to document that between the years of 1720 and 1870, there were over 100 water-powered mills for processing hemp fiber in Lancaster County alone, with dozens more hemp mills in all of the surrounding counties, hundreds throughout the state. The hemp fiber was used for everything from coarse cloth to fine linen. It was used for rugs. Immense quantities of rugs were manufactured in Pennsylvania factories. It covered a vast fleet of Conestoga wagons. It made grain bags for millions of bushels of wheat, thousands of miles of rope for twine and canal and farm use, sailcloth for vast fleets of ships, curtains in every home, as well as tablecloths, handkerchiefs, napkins, pillowcases, sheets, towels, bedding, trousers, belts, shirts, suspenders, shoes, hats, dresses, and all sorts of fabrics. Indeed, it was the #1 fiber in Pennsylvania for homespun clothing. The Pennsylvania Dutch people were said to grow some of the best hemp in the world and make the finest hemp products. When the old hemp clothing was worn out, it was collected and recycled in the old paper mills, of which there were many. The paper mill in Ephrata, owned by the Cloisters, was the 3rd in Pennsylvania and just the 7th in the country. The Cloisters printed the famous 1,000-plus page book called The Martyr's Mirror and many other books on hemp paper. A byproduct of the enormous hemp crop grown for fiber was many tons of excess hemp seed. There were just as many mills for expressing oil from the seed as there were mills for processing the fiber. That hemp seed oil was used in paints, varnishes, lacquers, lubricants, soap, lamp oil, and printer's ink. The remaining seed cake was fed to the livestock. In Philadelphia, there existed a large shipbuilding industry. Each ship took up to 60 tons of hemp fiber for all the big, thick anchor cables, all the rope rigging and canvas sails. All that was made out of hemp. And all that hemp had to be replaced every few years, so that ensured an enormous and insatiable demand for hemp from the interior of Pennsylvania. Hemp was grown in great abundance in the Lebanon Valley for more than a century after its founding. Alexander Schaefer, the founder of Schaeferstown, grew hemp on his farm. An old hemp mill was located not far from there, and today a hemp millstone from the old mill still stands guard in a nearby yard, not far from the field it was taken from. There was another hemp mill in the area of Millbach in the front yard. And in the front yard, nearly half sunken in the soil, is a hemp millstone that once did duty in the mill. In fact, I've found about 30 of these hemp stones so far in museums and private collections. The evidence was all around us, yet no one saw it, and the story was forgotten, faded into the misty memory of time. I can tell you so much more, like how George Washington visited a hemp mill in Paradise in 1794, or how James Buchanan fought hard for the farmers of Lancaster County and ordered that the Secretary of the Navy should rig a half of a warship with Lancaster County grown hemp canvas and robes and half with the Russian hemp, and how our hemp was considered the best in the world. I could go on and on. There's so much more. But I will add, if our ancestors in an intelligent, civilized, but more primitive condition could raise this tremendous industry from the soil of the fields they toiled with horse and plow, then think of the possibilities now, the possibilities of jobs, for agriculture, for the environment. It would be a shame and a cruel, ironic twist of history if the former hemp-producing strongholds in the state of Pennsylvania opposed hemp farming. Of course, that's not the case. Our farmers are ready to go. We intend to bring back hemp to the fertile soils of Pennsylvania. We will create jobs. We will help save the family farm. And we will put the hemp back in Hempfield. I fully and wholeheartedly endorse and support Senate Bill 50 as well as SB 3, and I hope you all do as well and join us in getting these bills passed. Thank you.